Hey, guess who's back? Like I never left. Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. How are you, y'all? This is Otis Galloway, and welcome back to the Cannabis Tourism Chronicles. One of the shows, one of the few shows that's out there right now, programs, if you will, that deals with the sustainable culture of cannabis tourism. Um, Enough love to you all. I hope that life is treating you well. I hope that you're not stressing out too much. I know there's a lot going on these days, but remember, in the words of the immortal Sting of the Police, when the world is running down, you make the best of what's still around. And as long as you got a little bit of green, it ain't that bad. So today, we have, as always, we have lovely guests. I can't even say another lovely guest. All of our guests are lovely, equally lovely in all capacities. We find the coolest people on the planet. Why? Well, because they're involved in cannabis. That's why. No, we find cool people, and I mean we're really blessed in that regard. And we get some great people to talk to. Our guest today is an activist and a feminist, and she comes to us from Argentina, and she is very active in tourism and in promoting cannabis tourism for women, which I always think is cool because women need a safe space within cannabis tourism, and it's really important that we, get on that bandwidth and get on that vibe and help to make that a thing, so that we can create a sustainable and a inclusive industry that allows everybody to have a little space for themselves where they can kind of just be. And so, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the stage Ana Flor. Ana, buenos
Hi,
tardes. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. I'm very glad to be here, and I am listening to this introduction that you made, and I'm very glad. I'm very glad to be here from the south, from Argentina, and I'm ready.
Excellent. Excellent. Hey, that's all I ask out of you. Just be ready.
Yes.
So, well, let's get. I'll tell you what. When let's get on the road and let's talk about it. So, why don't you give our guests like a kind of an idea, just a general outline of what it is, the projects that you do, the organization that you're with, and what are you promoting, and just go. Let's go from there.
Thank you. Well, I am a mom, a geographer from Argentina. I made my thesis from graduation in cannabis movement in Argentina. And I am a researcher, a teacher of geography in schools. And from 2 years ago, I started after a crash car accident. I start with this space that we call Cata de Mujeres. It's an event that we already made 17 events in all Argentina, in the cities of La Plata, Buenos Aires, Mar del Plata, Córdoba, and Bariloche twice. And it's an event that we thought it was necessary for the moment, but individually, my accident in the car was like a bomb in my head. Like, if I die today, what I bring to the world, to my world, to my cannabis world, that is the world that I'm in, and I am part of a net that is from all Latin America, of women in cannabis from all Latin America. And this net started working in 2016. Then this is is 10 years from this. And this is the organization that brings me this understanding about reality of cannabis from our perspective. We are women from Latin America, and we live in our own skins this problem of narco traffic and of prohibition. Then we are maybe in a old discussion for your for the discussions that are in the north. But we have a very important place to criticize the system, the hypocrisy of the system, and we say we are the face of the drug war, and we have a lot to say about it, right? Because when someone is in jail, if he's a man in the street, you have 1,000 women waiting for the time to go in and to help and to give food and presents. And if you go to a woman jail in Latin America, it's not the same thing. Then women, we are sustaining these relationships, these families. We are monoparent families. Sometimes there are a lot of women that are taken in the frontiers with some kind of drug, and they are very punished, right? Then we see how the world is consuming natural drugs, right? Because we are producers of natural drugs, and that is the detail. The coca, I don't know how to say, but the coca plant is a plant that only grows in our countries, right? In Bolivia, in Peru, in Colombia, and it sells cocaine in all the world. Then we have this role, this provet in Argentina. We used to call the agro exportation model. It's a model that Argentina had for a lot of times, and all the region has the same problem, right? We are providing the world something, and we are receiving the damage and the death about it. And another thing that I think that is very important. Sorry, my English, but I'm glad to be here this way. But we are thinking from the perspective of the women of Latin America that consuming cannabis and using cannabis and growing cannabis for her children, for his own a person of the family that needs. Then in this process, we made feminists, right? We weren't feminists in the beginnings. We were a lot of persons that was seeing how hypocrisy, how the damage of narcotraffic in our countries and in the world. I always say the same thing, but the drug business, the guns business, and the sale people business are the three business that removes all the system, the financial system, and gives an injection of money when it collapsing. Then for the campaigns and for all the things that in our countries, another business that sells things that are illegal, illegally. Then we have the sustain of other markets too that are in the gray. Then from the barter, from the gray, from the coming from the cold, como as Bob Marley say, we are making part of the new culture that criticize what it's the status quo, right? Yes. Then in our country, in Argentina, the mothers of the La Plaza de Mayo, there are a lot of women that in the dictator times, they fight for seeing where were the bodies, the dead bodies of her sons and daughters, and from his the sons of the sons, right? Then in this history of our country, the fight of the women is in the front. We are the face part, the first part of this thing, and from this part, like having pleasure is like an honor to us, right? It's not what the world needs from us. Then this event, this Cata de Mujeres that I made in Argentina, is a space just for fun. it doesn't has any education. Well, always has, but it's not the propose of it. And then from the join, we are creating another way possible of being in this world, right?
Yes. Yes, I know. I'm very much at like what you said here. I just wanted to take in and acknowledge because I want everybody to really have an understanding because a lot of what you said and a lot of what your intent, um, there's so much to tackle there. Because once again, the narco, like the corporate narco business, like you said with cocaine, especially because Latin America is more well known for that than anything else, unfortunately. And but the thing is that you live north of or you live south of the world's largest consumer of narco, of like especially cocaine, is the United States. They're one of the biggest consumers of cocaine in the world. And there's this knock-on effect of all the things, and it's really interesting how the narco business and I call it corporate narco terrorism because really, I mean, what's the difference? Um, how that like women in cannabis versus women in the corporate narco terrorism industry, women are exploited and are constantly in so many different ways. And you go from trafficking to drug mules to whatever, but there's so much exploitation of women. So what you're doing to me makes logical sense, ridiculously logical sense, because it's an empowerment, but it's also at the same time a space where women can find expression and in so many different avenues. And then yet at the same time, it's a place where women can find kindred spirits and fellowship. So I 100% want to kind of
We are
like
re
on
we
those
are
points and reiterate the
re-existing.
stream too.
Yes, we are re-existing, right? We are resisting of this world that is it's difficult. The reality of all these few months ago and the other year, the last years in our countries are being. I was thinking while you were talking about the roads that the narco traffic has to go
Yeah.
to United States, right? And
Yes.
all the organization, the logistics that some way is a Latinian way of doing business. Why it is illegal, but it's a business too. And like a illegal commodity, I think that there is a lot that we can do as a woman because we are who decides what you can buy in your house. The decision of what is going to buy this family this month is about us.
Exactly.
The taking care process of our children is about us. And I think that Lord change are in our hands too. Then we are this year we are making an event in October that is the 10 years event from the network that we are from Latin America Women in cannabis, and it's very interesting because well, I knew Luna a year ago in Expo Cannabis Argentina. She was here, and for me to meet someone in United States that is making it's representing to us because we know that as a feminist and as a criticism of what is going on in the world, we always say in our group that we have this glass that we are anti-capitalistas, but in the criticism of this system that we criticize the colonialism, we criticize the patriarchy, and I don't know how to say patriarcado, and we criticize too the racism, right? And this is this glass that we are seeing the reality through this. Then this is our way of seeing. This is the way we do our quotidian life, right? Because I realize that we have a lot of in common in the cannabis culture of all the world, right? But here
Yes.
in Argentina, that is a country where I live, we think that the fight is in the streets. And we are seeing you getting up to from this fight in the streets, like in a Latin American way too. We are discussing, and these communities are not already north and south. We are mixed. We can we can talk about it, we can discuss, and we can see our privilege and our rights being vulnerable and think together. It's a moment where the world is a mess, right? Not only the world, but also in the medioambiental aspect, in the ambiental aspects, right? As
Yes.
a
Yes.
geographer, I am seeing that through this plant that we love, we get a knowledge about a lot of things that makes us think different. I think that is a very good challenge for us to think, what are we doing while we are resisting, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I want you to hold that thought because we are going to take a very brief station identification break, and then we're going to continue to talk about the roles of cannabis, and I think what will become the next stage of how we deal with controlled substances and the issues of controlled substances, uh, I guess narco trafficking, as you can call it, and all that stuff. But we'll get back into that because there's a lot to uncover here. My name is Otis Galloway. I'm here with Anna Flor. You are watching the Cannabis Tourism Chronicles, and we will be right back after this.
Educanation, a Canadian non-profit organization devoted to improving the quality of cannabis education and care across our nation and around the world. Educanation believes in continued education and support through the three-tiered membership: cannabis education and outreach services, patient education and support through their holistic clinic model. Educanation, providing the highest standard of professional and responsible cannabis education. www.educanation.info.
And we're back at the Cannabis Tourism Chronicles. My name is Otis Galloway. I am your host with the most. The most what? I have no idea, but I'll figure it out and let you know as soon as I get there. Right now, today, we are talking to Ana Flor, who is a feminist, an activist, and more importantly, another ally on the road to liberating the plant that we love, re-liberating it. I think I actually this week was reintroduced to somebody said we're actually not liberating cannabis, we're re-liberating it because it was already free, and through some fault of us humans, we've made it unnatural, and now it's our job, I think, to reintroduce it and re-liberate it. So yeah, we're in the re-liberation business. I think I'm gonna be, changing my monikers and everything. I'm in the re-liberation business.
We are two already. We are two.
Yeah,
Really,
we need to re-liberate it. I mean, but like I said, I mean, we're dealing with a lot here because, especially as it pertains to Latin America, because there's so much going on that from you go to each individual country, and each individual country has its own particular history, and then there's an overarching territorial regional history that goes along with a lot of that, and that ties into that, and the relations between countries and each individual country's like their own path in history and how it all relates. And then you're dealing with like the narco trafficking, which has led to the rise of these massive cartels who have all this money and influence. And and in the middle of all of this are innocent women and children just fighting for survival. And like I said, what we're seeing with cannabis, especially with countries now looking at the relaxation or the re-liberation of laws, that I think we can be giving back a lot of autonomy to people, especially women who have had their autonomy consistently stripped away from them in various forms and vehicles. And I think what we're seeing is we need to reintroduce those autonomies to allow people to be able to for self-preservation, for self-expression, for self-determination, because things are getting out of hand right now. You know,
they are difficult, and it's interesting what are you collocating, because we have this challenge of what to say about reality, right? The reality is bad, but for example, I want to just say about Argentina that from 2017 we can grow with a credency card that is from medical use. Then I have this, and I can have 9 plants in my house in flowering period, and I can have 6 meters quadrados of growing. Then I can have 40 grams in the streets. And this is a reality from my country that before we were growing, we read a lot about the photos of internet of Spain, actually because of the language, but after a lot of United States and Europe and things in the first part of the century. And after with the magazines, and I worked in one that was called Revista Hayes. It's a magazine that made his own cannabis cup, and a lot of cannabis cups. Today is a lot of cannabis cups in Argentina. And this Cata de Mujeres is also has this propose of being an education place, a reduction of arms place, right? Then we are always trying to do something nice about the plant that can make change not only our lives. And I think that the plant give us that knowledge. For example, today the OMG, como que the association that we had here that they don't have they don't want to make money just to help the community. It's just an old discourse too, because it doesn't make sense. Women that are growing, that are making oils, that cannot afford it with money paid from the families that need it. Then we have a lot of things yet, but we are not a country that produces that much. We used to buy from Paraguay, that is a country that is near us, besides us. Yes, and between in Paraguay, it was distributing from Argentina to Argentina, Uruguay, Brazil, and Chile. With the knowledge of how to grow, this starts to disappear because it's a tough quality. Is not good. It's just like seeds and leaves and everything. And I don't know if you see some weed from Paraguay that passes. We say prensado, but the prensado was the objective that here in our connoisseur part of the world, we were discussing. We were saying, why, if we can grow here, we are smoking up so bad weed. Then the perspective of education for the transformation that I have a reference like the Polita Pepper that is from an anthropology from Mexico, she's part of the net of women that we had. And she always is collocating the question of the indigenous people, right? Because in all the countries that we said about the coca plant that are growing and all, the population, the indigenous population is very high. Then we have to discuss with the communities that grows in illegally conditions, what are the new jobs that they are gonna make it to? Because if there are damage from the drug of wars, are the women and all the minorities. But is very special to remake or help to remake the life that the war on drugs take over, right?
Yes, absolutely. No,
Uh,
that's a really important thing to address, because we, as much as we want to fix things, as much as we want to end the narco terrorism and the exploitation of people, we have to remember that these people still need to be able to sustain and take care of themselves. But like I said, with what the things that you can do, I mean, cannabis, only one use of cannabis involves consumption, and there's 50,000 uses for it. And I think that, okay, let's say, radically speaking, if we had to replace a plant, I'm trying to think, like, replacing the cocoa plant with, like, say, a cannabis plant doesn't seem like a horrible trade-off to me, if that were to happen. But those both plants can coexist. I mean, they still have a usage, and I think we should be looking towards botanical, botany, and doing more study in botany. But I think we need to expand it more so that we can look at the multiple uses of these plants, because we're only looking at one use, and a lot of the time we're looking at the most profitable use. And it's just, I think it comes from that whole fossil fuel mentality of just like, we just want to use this one thing and exploit it to its, like, until we just squeeze every ounce of whatever out of it. And I think that we need to do better than that.
I think so too. But it's a challenge because we are making
Mm-hmm.
another world possible in our head, in our heart first, but in our quotidian life too. Because we activists know that we are changing minds when we are discussing with someone about this war of drugs. We are discussing things that we already know. But what we want to do is we want to work with the plants. We want to make clothes. We want to make houses. We want to make food. We want to make everything
Exactly.
that can
Exactly.
make with this, but we don't want the technology pack that Monsanto sells.
Yeah. You don't want, yeah.
Then we
The
want to
thing,
think
yeah.
models, different models, right? Not the
Yes.
model where you buy all the package. The here is like the living soil times. And it's a Latin American way of doing
Right. Right. Exactly.
agroecologia, and we are not doing this monocultivo thing that as sometimes we see. We are trying to understand the plant in a lot of conditions, right? How it was in the beginning, then all the research that we are making about these families of geneticas, and all that thing is very interesting. I, as a teacher, as a researcher, I think there is a lot of value here, but we are not, we are in bad conditions in economy. Argentina is a mess today, and I don't want to take much time on this, but I wanna say, because it's good for the world to know, right? That in the
Yes.
dictatorial times in Argentina, from 1976 to 81, was a
Yes.
dictadura that killed a lot of people. We are saying that there are 30,000, and my mother was in prison in that time, so she's a political leader of the woman, yes, of the
Mm.
70s times.
Wow.
And I think that this history that we have of the woman in the front of the fights, um, it's important, because when we are thinking about an industry cannot be without the women. And we women that are monoparental families, for example, need a place to take our children to go to work, right? Then
Yeah.
we can think in models of industry that contemplates the perspective of our type of life, right? Because we are giving sustenance of all these things, and we need to be considerated about our perspective, not to impose another, right? Then we are constructing a new way, and I think that it's a good way of thinking the feminism. We are not against mans. We are not against. We are against violence. We are against injustice.
Yes.
We We are
Yes.
against racism. We are against things that you are engaged to. Then we are together, right? And this is how families work. We are a team, and it's very good for me and very encouraged to see you guys from the other parts of the world, from the other hemisphere, to be concerned about our questions too, because not here, but in Colombia, in Mexico, in Brazil, the gun war is it's a really complicated thing for the people around. It's dangerous for us to be in the street, right?
Yes.
It's dangerous for us to get weed in the streets. It's dangerous.
Yeah.
Then I don't want to be like maternal, but
Yeah.
I'm as a mother also has these issues. Like, what is the world that we are living? A world when can kidnap someone and no one do anything? No, we go into the streets, and it's in the street and in our lives that we are making the difference, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. That is so important. And I want you to hold that thought yet again. And we're going to come back to that right after we take a little break and a pause for the cause to ID and tell our sponsors thank you so much. But I want you to
Thank you.
hold that thought. We're here with Anna Flor, and we will be right back after we take this pause for the cause. You are watching the Cannabis Tourism Chronicles on KGLTV.
One of the biggest areas for growth in the cannabis industry is actually cannabis hospitality. And did you know you could start your own business for under $5,000? Allow me to take you through my mentorship program to receive your cannabis hospitality stewardship certificate, where we're going to allow you to understand this plant in a way in which you can actually shepherd the plant to people. And not only a way to start a new career, but a way to actually enrich people's lives so they can use the benefits of cannabis to enhance their lifestyle. Please join me on this revolutionary journey.
Back again, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, I am your host, Otis Galloway, and I am here today with you could best be described. I would describe you as one force of nature, Anna Flor, who is an educator and a mom and an activist, and I would say a woman on fire. But, in the best possible, yeah, no, but in the best possible way. We have been here talking about the activism, the necessary things that need to be done, not just in Latin America per se, but in the world. But for this conversation, Latin America. And I mean, like I said, each country comes with its own unique set of challenges and obstacles. I mean, Argentina's history, and I mean, anybody, you can pick up a history book and take a look at it. Argentina's had, calling the Argentina history volatile would be an understatement. It's been pretty tumultuous in terms of what's going on. And then I've been keeping a track of your current leader, Javier Milei, because he styles himself very much after a certain American politician who shall remain nameless. It's just very interesting to see the populism and how it works, but also his kind of chainsaw approach to economics, which isn't working. It's working but not working. It's very chaotic, and this kind of it almost right now, you know that there's going to be this heavy resistance to feminism, but it just seems like it's the right place and the right time for women to kind of go, you guys have had the reins for a while. Why don't you step aside and let us handle it for a bit? I kind of feel like, believe me, I'm one of the people going, yeah, let's have the women have a shot at this, because you guys, you've been in it for a couple of centuries and it's gonna crap, But I'm all for women taking over right now, man. And seriously, please take over. And all kidding aside, I kind of feel like there's a movement. I can kind of feel it. I think that it's not quite there yet, but we're sort of all and I kind of feel, but in the cannabis community, I feel strongest about this. I feel like once we hit our streak, our creative, like we start to realize that there's more of us out there, I think we're going to really exercise our power in some very interesting ways. But that's just me. But I'd like to hear your take on it.
No, the plants help us to do it, and I think that um, I was thinking that we have no frontier in women in cannabis from Latin America and the other parts of the world, because we have this difference. Yes, we have difference, for example, for the ladies from Spain, because we have different problems. She is discussing to don't be to don't have a proof in the work for her to use cannabis in blood, and we are discussing that the woman from here don't have work, and if his man is in jail because he sells drugs, the most obvious thing is that when he is in jail, she that is in the house with the 2 kids or 3 kids is selling little parts of drugs. Then we have different problems, but we share this sense of justice. And I think that the plants help us to understand the position of the other, right? And this empathy way of seeing each other is making conversation possible, right? Because it's a machismo in the world that it's with a lot of violence. Always after the 8th of March, there are a lot of cases of violence in these countries of Latin America, at least, and we can see how women are being very incarcerated for narco traffic little causes, right? The 70% of the women that is in jail in our countries of Latin America, they are in jail for this reason, right? Then if these women are in jail, there are social lazos, social things that are broken. This family is broken if the mother is in jail and cannot have a children from more of 4 years. Then this community that are thinking about cannabis has to think these things, right? When we go to cannabis events, most we see is men in the events, and the owners of the farms and the owners of the companies and the person who is talking always in the front. And in cannabis movement of the women, we are discussing too these things, right? Like, I'm a white woman from a middle class from Argentina, but there are an indigenous people from Brazil that is being part of this movement, and it's the right thing to have the voice, right? Then we always with my friend from Mexico, she teach me too that this place that we have of taking voice, sometimes we are talking for a lot of women that are making this in her house to save his life, right? Then I think that the power that we have together, all the cannabis movement, women, little kids, old persons that can offer us a scene of what our future will be when we will get this age, right? Then the activism is, sometimes it's not that fair, but we know we are changeable. We are for the cause. We are for the justice. And sometimes we don't know if we want to see this world that we dream, where food can be made, where cars can be made, where they are already doing it, right? We want a piece of this.
Yes.
Right, like this is, I think and I was remembering when we were talking about one book that it's called Mujeres que corren con los lobos, women that runs with wolves, and it says about the desert that is in between Mexico and United States. In this desert, that the wolves, they is taking all the bones, and when he gets all the body, he will decide which song will sing to the body to revive. Then we as a movement have to decide which song we're gonna sing all together to get this fight right.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is a something that I think is going to be a challenge, especially is making the voices of others heard within our community, especially because, like you said, it is overwhelmingly male a lot of the time, and in a lot of the Western countries and a lot of the countries, like especially North America, it tends to be predominantly white as well. So, those of us, like you said, indigenous folks, folks of color, the LGBTQ community. I just, that's the thing that I love the most about cannabis, is that within those spaces exist within the space of cannabis. So there's wonderful subsections, but they all fall under like our shared love for more knowledge and more fellowship. And I think that this can only go higher and farther as long as we're aware of these things, and we need to continue to educate each other and kind of spread the word about what it is that we're doing here, because I think that's the way that we as a community improve.
Sure. I'm very glad to having this conversation. I don't know if the people that are hearing are enjoying too, but it's very interesting to, through perspectives and think together. And I think that when we grow up, when we go up in the morning, know that there are others like us thinking about this and fighting for this in his own country is very empowering. It's very empowering. It gives us sense of a destiny in common that we are creating. We are being part of this process, and this is identity, this is culture, this is life, right? Is to being part of things that you think that they are right. And I think that who thinks that we peer persons who use cannabis are like, no sé qué. We sit this person and we explain to her, to him, what we are passing through, and every person can understand. Then always that you have a person in front of you that is not understanding the point, just take a breath, convocate the plant, and try to get it more close. In education, we do that. We cannot pretend that the person that are learning get near us. We have to do this work, right? It's a very like a spiritual thing that you are doing. You are donate that energy for the world to be better. Then this moment that we are having is expanding these ideas, these discussions that we are having as a woman, that you're having there. And it's very nice to come meet. As I said, it's very empowering, and we need that in this moment.
Yes. Oh, most definitely. I think that it's going to be one of those things as going forward, we find it's going to be more and more important, more and more, and I hope prolific. And I really sincerely would like to see this happening on a larger scale with more people. But I feel like very optimistic because we've come out and we're doing our little thing, and we've managed to get quite a bit of momentum going on. And speaking of momentum, we're going to shift the momentum, say hello to our friends and sponsors who have been kind enough to make sure that we've got the resources to keep the show running. And then we will take one last look at what the future holds for not just Latin America, but the cannabis culture as a whole. And we'll be right back. You're watching the Cannabis Tourism Chronicles here on KGLTV. once again, we are back. Hello, I am Otis. This is Anna. We have been discussing at length cannabis, feminism, Latin America, culture. We've covered a lot of territory in a short amount of time. Um, your view of what do you see for Latin America in the next 5 to 10 years? Do you see more countries joining the re-liberation
Movement.
parade, so to speak? Or do you see a lot? Do you see that there's going to be maybe some of the smaller countries are going to say, you know what, we need to give this a try, and it's gradually just going to keep building momentum and building momentum?
Look, I don't know. I was thinking about that before the interview, and I was thinking this that I'm gonna be putting a finger in a special question, but for example, for we that are researchers of the roads of narco traffic in this region, all going to United States. Venezuela, for example, is a very important case for the narco traffic because otherwise that in the land you can go through the land all to the United States. You have a part in Panama that you cannot cross, right? Then when the plant of coke that make cocaine in the kitchens in Colombia, for example, the way of getting out from the sea is like going to an island that is near Nicaragua, that is also a territory of Colombia, that is called San Andres, and you are in Nicaragua and you shall go to United States. The other way of going is about Venezuela, going through the island, right? Like Dominican Island and going to United States. Then this road made me understand that maybe when we think, oh, this president of United States enter into a country and interviews and all, the cartels already planned, right?
Yes, exactly.
There's no way to do anything of that if the cartels of Colombia, of Mexico, of Venezuela, of Brazil are not taking knowledge of it. Then Peru is very strong too. Then the cartelization of Latin America is a thing that is very complicated. And the intervention of the United States is also very inconvenient because all we people that live here has a memory of the 70s and how the intervention of United States in our countries didn't help us in the dictatorial history, right? Then we have a lot of pain in our heart for all that the war on drugs is doing in our countries. We have this, like we have a critic to colonialism. We also have a critic to war on drugs because it's a lie. It's a lie that the only things that makes is us as a provider of prime materials. We are already that in a lot of areas of our economy. Then we are discussing that we want a piece of the cake. And when you ask about what Latin America will do, we can advance a bit. But we have problems too that are generated about the pressure of another country to invade our countries, because we are not all calm and activists. There are a lot that don't like to be in an invasion, right? And here with Milei, I want just to take a minute to talk about this. Milei has this public discourse that are panic us, that has it's a shame for us. The gasoil were 350 pesos, and now it is 1,500. Then it grows so much. Imagine in your country to grow this much the price of the gasoil. Then we all our refrigerators are empty, And this is something that Argentina never believed. And he's talking about to get into people from Israel. He's saying a lot of things in international politics that are a shame for us, a shame. Then I understand that in your country happens also that the president make decisions that the people are not agree with that. Then what we do with that don't represent us, but in the same time represent us, right? Because if the invasion of our countries will be with some of the powers that today digitates the world, I don't know what it's going to be in 10 years. I don't know if cannabis can with all that, right, that is happening. But I think in a big way, we are doing every day. This growing thing that we are having now is a fight that demorates a lot for us to have. And they want to take us out this benefit of being a person that allows to grow his own weed. But the culture, we helped to do this law, and this law has these empties that we made it to continue being our culture. When a seed or a plant is not a market time all the times. Sometimes it's parsery, is friendship, is knowledge, is research, and that moves our heart, right?
Yeah. That's the thing that I love the most about it, is the community that we build with cannabis. It has brought so many beautiful people into my radar, and it's allowed me to have these great discourses on what we would like to see happen. And the thing is that what I'm loving and what I'm seeing more of is that there's a lot less, like it used to be we would sit around, we'd smoke, and we would talk about it. Now it's we talk about it, we do it, and we sit around and smoke, and then we do some more. And I love that. I love that there is a real hands-on DIY activism that comes with being part of the cannabis community, that gradually you find your way in there, you find what you're good at, and you start to make things happen. And I think that only can get bigger and better. And I think as we bring more and more, because we're one of the most diverse communities out there. It's really funny. We don't ask for people to identify in a certain way. Like there's always these communities, like if you look in America with people who own guns, or like sports teams, there's this like strong identity brand. But I love that with cannabis, it's strong, but in a very civic, very sort of we kind of like a nod, wink, wink way. And I think that our future and our strength will come from the fact that it's more it's more implied than it is like stamped on. Like we don't have to wear it. We don't have to tell everybody that we're part of it. We just kind of know that we are. And I love that future for us. I feel very optimistic, but I'm a ridiculously optimistic person. So I mean,
I am too. I love it. I love to be optimistic. This life, I will be optimistic. All life. No, because we are seeing the deep hole that we are, but we can see the light. And I think that life is like this. Sometimes you don't see much in your near space, but if you look a bit more than you can see the light right there. And I think that guide us, and until a connection with God, I think I have, because of the weed, it connection me with the earth, with the nature, and with the people that suffer, people that are in unjust terms, that cannot eat today, that cannot drink water, that cannot take a shower today, that has no house. Then it makes more empathy in this world, and this world needs cannabis and needs empathy. Then I think we are in the right time, like you said, in the right place, and taking part of it. saying what we think and trying to do it with coherence.
Yeah, it's so important, and like, I think as we continue to do this, and when we have platforms like this, that we use these platforms to draw more people in and to expand the discussion and really include as many people as we can, because it's important to me. And like you said, that connection, that spiritual connection that you get when you are someone that consumes cannabis responsibly, that it allows you to have this thing where you feel and you are a certain way about these things, that it just it becomes a part of you, and it's really important. And I mean, I can't even begin to tell you how much joy that brings me. um and I just want to say, from towards our closing up here, I appreciate you, Anna, so much. Thank you so much for coming on today and giving us your interpretation and your ideas, because we're all going to walk away from this much stronger. And to my audience out there, I want to just say this: continue to talk to one another, do your thing, elevate yourself, elevate others, bring as much as you can to the table every day, all day. We can keep doing this. If we work on doing the small things consistently, the big things will just fall right into place. I am happy to have been your host. I am happy to have had the wonderful Anna Flor as my guest. And I want to say from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate all of you, love all of you. This is the Cannabis Tourism Chronicles. We're on KGLTV. You come see us when you want to come see us. And we got nothing but love for all of you. Take care, be safe, and smoke only the best.